Well, welcome back, everyone. There is a very special event going on next Sunday. That is the Blessing of the Bikes. And joining me this afternoon to talk about all the activities going on is Pastor Roger Emerson. He's to my left. And then to his left is Steve Whitaker. How are you both?
Doing good. Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much for being on with us. So, Pastor Roger, I'll kind of start out with you. Talk about this actual Blessing of the Bikes and what's going to happen next Sunday.
Well, we'll have an outdoor service. Starts about 9 o'clock. We're going to have coffee and donuts and some music. And then at 10 o'clock, the actual service begins. It's going to be outdoors under a tent. The plan is, and the intention is, to have this in kind of a neutral, non-threatening environment, because a lot of bikers don't feel comfortable in a church, and some might even feel unwelcome in a church. And so we would like to change that. So we're doing this outdoor service. At the conclusion of the service, about 11 o'clock, we'll have a blessing of the bikes where the bikes line up and I will bless them. And they'll go for a guided ride, what, about 20 minutes, half an hour?
Half-hour ride, yeah.
And then when they come back, we're going to have a picnic lunch for everybody. So
very good. Sounds like it's a day full of lots of events going on.
Right.
Now, you talked about it being a non-threatening situation. Is this a non-denominational service?
No, this is put on by the Harrod and Maysville United Methodist churches together. We're also being sponsored by R.D. Jones Excavating and LaKing Trucking, but also generous donations from both congregations. It's our churches trying to reach out, again, reach out to people who may not feel that they're welcome in church or may not feel comfortable in church. Steve's a prime example. Steve is a biker and has a, can I say it, a history with gangs, and about 10 or 11 years ago, he was not comfortable coming into church.
Now, Steve, I was going to say you're kind of a lifelong rider, and maybe you'd like to share your story a little bit, how you got involved with this.
Well, Jane, when I was in the club life, we had a motorcycle ministry group called White Horse Ministries that would show up and would, pray with me, talk to me about getting right with, Jesus and living life right. And my family attended the Harrod Church, so, of course, they were always inviting me, so I started showing up randomly. And I would show up more and more, and every time I showed up, someone would come and shake my hand and tell me that, they were glad to see me and thanks for coming back. And at that time, I didn't even like looking at myself in the mirror, let alone, going to church. So the joke between Pastor Roger and I is, when I first started going, I would always sit in the back and always stare at the ceiling while he was giving a sermon, and he asked me, after 2 or 3 Sundays, he finally caught me, because as soon as the sermon was over, I was out the door.
Right.
And he said, can I ask you a question, not offend you? I said, sure, what's that? And he said, why do you always look at the ceiling when I give the sermon? And I said, because when it cracks, I'm out the door, man. And he promised me if I came back that it wouldn't crack. So I've showed up for almost 10 years, and I found out there was a ceiling reconstruction fund. But it's really changed my life. I'm a single dad and I have a great kid, and a big factor in his life is church. Just a month ago, we had an amazing talk about my father's death in November, and God and church and the role it has played in our lives and changing me. It's come hear my story. It's amazing. I was a thug and a drug dealer when I started showing up, and I'm working at being an upstanding citizen now. So
good for you. Such a transformation. And now, so you're going to be speaking at the Blessing of the Bikes event.
Yes. I'll give my testimony or my story, and it is really truly non-denominational. Show up. I don't care whether you ride a motorcycle or not. Pastor Roger and I got a little side bet. There's 500 people in Harrod, I want to put 500 people in and around this tent. I have a clown for the kids. It's a real laid-back service. Wear your shorts and flip-flops, bring your lawn chair.
Very laid-back, right?
Very laid-back. To kind of reach out, because with the motorcycle ministry groups, they're the ones reaching out, and just our church a few years ago, a leader, made the comment, where do we want to go with our outreach ministry, and kind of reach out to those that get kind of forgotten sometimes. And I used to be one of those, so.
Right. Well, so glad you've changed everything around, and you're, kind of coming out to that event. Sounds like a great event.
Yeah. And Sunday, Steve is joining the church, and we're going to keep an eye on the ceiling and make sure it doesn't.
Yeah. After 10 years, I thought maybe I ought to make it official, right?
That's great. Well, congratulations. All right. Thank you so much for joining us this afternoon.
Thank you.
Thanks for having us.